This program was established in response to the 2022 floods which devastated the Northern Rivers. The program has 81 organisations that we fund under 82 grants.
We're excited to be taking you around the 7 LGAs of the Northern Rivers with us to showcase to you some of the organisations and the amazing work that they're doing under the grant program. The project was intended to recognise the work that NGOs do in the community and the work that they had been doing from basically the minute the floods hit to support community. This was recognised by government that they were the ones that were able to reach directly into the community and continue to do that sort of work. So that's where essentially the grant was targeted. It was designed to be as flexible and as quick and as easy as possible for organisations to access and to report on throughout the process. We're locals to this area and we're both involved in that initial response work, shoveling mud out of houses and supporting community members, and to be able to move on to supporting the NGOs that are working with community through this project has been really wonderful opportunity. And also to work with Sarah over this 12 months. She brings a lot of experience of Department of Communities and Justice, and I think we work really well together as a pair.
The flood this time was absolutely devastating. It came over my shoulders. The whole house was wrecked.
Morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. Did you just pull up with me?
Yes.
The Tundra Hub is an outreach post for the community. It's a place where people can come that are flood affected, that can access a variety of services to help them in their recovery from the flood, from emergency food support, low-cost food pantry work with a lot of other agencies, just to offer that support, material aid, mental health and financial support that they need.
Hi there. Hi, Sandy. Hello, darling. Hello.
We haven't had
Smell though.
I know, we haven't had this much before, ever. Have we? Look at that.
Not that variety.
Got battle scars on it. Poor thing.
I lost everything, but with the help of people like Sandy Gilbert from the Hub, organising furniture, bedding, appliances, food. There had been a lot of very sad and perhaps dead people around here. We're all pensioners and we just needed some help.
So we got through the flood waters and found one of the parks called Hacienda, just on the side of the river, and they'd just cleaned their hall out. So we just romped up with my husband and some friends, called into all the supermarkets on the way down to see if we can get some free sausages or cheap sausages and bread rolls, and decided to have a sausage sizzle amongst all the mud and the mayhem and the sadness. But it was probably the best thing we ever did. Might have been a bit muddy wrapped in a paper towel, but everyone just was grateful to have a sausage on a piece of bread for that day, and we decided that we think we need to have this sausage sizzle again tomorrow. But by the next day, that sausage sizzle turned into a hub. I didn't even know what a hub was. Didn't have a clue what a hub was. And everyone started coming over to us.
We had 8 caravan parks along the Tweed River that were flood impacted, 7 of which went completely under. So we would estimate that we've helped in excess of 2,500 people in their flood recovery journey since the start of March. On a monthly basis, we're seeing numbers between 250 and 350 people a month coming here to access, numerous services.
The girls that work here are very supportive, and without them, I don't know where I'd be. And there's a lot of people in the community that are in a lot more need than myself. There's older people and they're just not coping. It's a really vital part of our community and repairing processes, the hub.
A massive amount of people coming out that are really starting to struggle mentally. I think that's our focus into the future. The cost of living's increasing. It's putting a lot of pressure on everyday people, and the impacts of the floods just exacerbated it. So the funding for projects like ours, for hubs like ours, it's critical.
We are a grassroots charity that we founded 4 years ago. For those past few years, we've done a number of projects that essentially, to note it down, like help us connect as community members, one with each other, with oneself, with nature, help us build our resilience and being able to develop our own capacities to go through, disruptive events such as bushfires and floods, and help us also regenerate our systems. The way the process has been designed, it was very easy to apply for the fund. We used the funding to do more of what we were doing before the fund, and that has allowed us to expand our operations quite significantly. And namely, we allocated the funding to establish and nurture and grow the Northern Rivers Community Cares and Responders Network, so the CCR. And the purpose of the CCR is to establish a network of community members across the community who are trained, skilled, equipped with the resources, with the capacity to build their resilience and that of their community in anticipation not just of future disasters, but also of future crises.
I did this training to help solidify the work that we'd done through the floods, and also to be part of something bigger than just us and myself.
There's a couple of things that have really stood out for me. One is the connections made. So people have been acting across the Northern Rivers in different capacities. By coming together for these trainings, amazing relationships are formed. The other angle is that so many people have talked about the healing nature of being involved in this training, that it's actually helped them move from fear to hope into action.
So much trauma in this area because of the floods. So many people now with PTSD. So many people that were already struggling because of COVID, and trauma tends to separate people. So coming back together, creating healing, it's invaluable.
What we're doing today is a camp called Walking with Horses. It's an opportunity for helping the helpers domain, so people who are looking after other people in our community, so therapists, psychologists, counsellors, and giving them a space to come together to learn from each other and to offer peer support. It's really nice to get together with other people who are doing the same sort of work that you're doing, especially at times like this after the floods, where one person might be holding a lot for a lot of clients and a lot of grief for a lot of other people, but you're working in silos, so being able to come together with other people who are going through the same thing that you're going through is really valuable. It's very chill. We've had a beautiful breakfast around the fire, lots of chats, lots of good times, a bushwalk, and we've been doing some equine therapy today.
Holding space for people as a therapist and doing that continuously is great, and it's really nice to actually have space being held for me, and then being able to connect with other people who have sort of similar views, similar experiences, and then the highlight was the horses.
Through working with the horses and creating a safe space for them, we also create a safe space for people to be here. Horses are fantastic at just really modelling emotional regulation and a healthy cycle of that. You can watch them be activated and then quickly come back to grazing, as I call it, but it's back to regulation. And we just really simply be with horses here.
For me, being a therapist and being able to come here, hang out with other therapists, be looked after, be cooked for, is amazing, particularly in such a beautiful setting. It's invaluable.
The funding that's been made available for this group has made it possible for us to put this on for people, and rather than feel like they have to fit it into their own budget, we can offer it to people for free. So having this funding has made such a difference to all the people that are here, and that means that we're meeting people's needs, and that's the whole point.
Shedding is a space that we use tools, we do carpentry and building, and the focus is on well-being. So it's to do an embodied activity that uses our body and uses our minds with the idea to feel good, have a good time together, and come together as a community for a collective focus. And also, I guess, this underlying theme of sustainability. So everything that we build inside and out of this space is from recycled materials, reclaimed recycled materials that would otherwise go to landfill. The space is designed by us and it supports us, and it's designed to support the nervous system. So we think about colour, temperature, light, how it feels to be in a space. We want to create a space that is a haven. People just drop in, and they'll often drop in when they're having a rough day, or they didn't know where to go, or they didn't know what to do. We also run a teacher training program. We discovered that we were the only all-inclusive shed and repair cafe possibly in Australia, and so we are now teaching people we need more facilitators here, and we're also teaching people to facilitate elsewhere across the region and across the country. Our facilitators are trained in non-violent or compassionate communication, mental health first aid, and authentic relating. So we think about the values of this space, which is its well-being and inclusivity.
It's been very empowering for me to be able to at one time feel terrified maybe to use a drop saw or a jigsaw or something like that. And then the way she is able to teach you, and in 5 minutes you're doing it, and boom.
What gets me back here every time is just, it's a sense of community, mostly for me. Have, I suppose, a feeling of belongingness, you know?
Space Makers is a workshop that everyone can come to because of this funding. And I think at this time it's very important to be inclusive. I think at all times it probably is, but particularly now, when people are struggling and they're needing support.
Three, two, one, pour coffee.
My role in this has been working with all the students from the level 1, which is the prerequisite to doing the actual barista, and then all the way up to the barista training, the theory and the practical, which is the fun part. Yeah, I think that it's really paid off, all the hard work, and the funding has provided all the kids with a job-ready skill, but also not just that, just building their confidence to actually go out into the workforce.
This day is going pretty good. It's very interesting how they make these events, because it helps us youth to connect together.
It's been critically important to offer additional creative engagement for young people, because young people still need fun, they still need life, and in a lot of cases that was taken away for young people during the flood period. And so in this phase of recovery, this additional funding has really let us focus on the young people, offer really exciting and fun things, and at the same time be connected to the community, so that if wellbeing services are required, we can connect with the family and provide the services, financial support, and just additional connections that have been required. The reality for us is that the challenge is ongoing, and I do understand that people in the decision-making positions understand that. Flexibility is so important, and for me, being trusted by the department and the powers that be to do our jobs and not have to muck around with paperwork and lots of different things, and have streamlined funding opportunities is absolutely vital.
I think it's a really important area that needs a lot of work is youth, and that obviously impacted by the floods, and with COVID there was a lot disengaged from school. So this has been a wonderful opportunity, and they've reached so many schools and young people right across the area, all 7 LGAs.
This should be the norm of the funding landscape. So I would say that it's nice to be able to have a little bit of extra money, and it's not a lot. Let's be honest, it wasn't a lot of money, And that little bit of extra money has enabled us to really up our game and really engage.
Well, today we're here at beautiful Ballina Surf Club and we have 45 not-for-profits and charities in a training which is all focused on preventing and overcoming trauma. This is helping them learn more about strategies, tools and tactics that they can use in the workplace to prevent workplace PTSD. So this is one of 12 trainings that we've run over the last 6 months, right across the Northern Rivers. The organisations that we're training are the ones who are on the front line helping flood-impacted individuals, families and communities. These are great not-for-profits and charities across our region whose mental health and wellbeing we need to support as well. Our charity is the only organisation in Australia that's focused on the mental health and wellbeing of the not-for-profit sector. It is so critical now, more than ever, that we look after the people who are looking after society and community. We have rolling natural disasters, we have pandemics, and all of this is taking a toll on those who work and volunteer in the social and community sector. Only 3% of organisations at the moment can keep up with service delivery. This is a really serious issue in our sector. We know that 45% of not-for-profits and charities staff are stressed, anxious and overwhelmed, often or always. If our workers are like this, then how are they supposed to do their job of looking after community and society?
The trauma doesn't happen to us, but it's the narrative that we put onto that trauma that makes us feel certain ways. I think it's important to have workshops like this just so we have more of a sense of what we can do to help the people we are dealing with.
It enabled me to understand why I do the work that I do, and also helped me to work closely and more uniquely with the people that come in and seek support from us. This is an onion, so as the layers keep peeling off, the more people come up. This sort of funding, it's imperative that we train as many people as possible into how to listen, how to respond on a professional level, speaking from your heart and speaking with truth.
Neighbourhood Centre has been working with our communities for about 45 years on the ground. So we play space, we walk alongside of our communities during change, during everyday life, during crisis. We were very excited for the first time as a neighbourhood centre to be recognised as a place-based organisation and the ones that knew our communities best. So to receive that funding was a first for us, and we'd already recognised the work that was being done within the community. It was being community-led through the hubs at the time, which were run by volunteers. And through the flexibility of the funding, we were able to employ those volunteers that have been on the ground for months and then bring the hubs about to be a centre of engagement, of safety, of cup of tea counselling. Since we set up our system for pure data collection in November, till the end of June we did 5,000 occasions of service. 18 months on from the floods, we have hit another downslide. There's a lot of frustration amongst community. There's a lot of what do we do now?
It's just so upsetting, it's that heartbreaking. We walk around town, half the houses are still empty. I've got 80-year-old people sleeping in tents inside the house because they've got nothing in them. Freezing. It's just not right. Yeah. But, yeah, we'll get through it because Woodburn is full of the most beautiful hearts, you know, and we're prepared to give.
It's about providing support, but providing hope. To know that there is still times we can come together to lean on each other and to look at how we can move forward. Yes, thank you for the funding, because there certainly has been some fun times. There's been some happy times, particularly our last Christmas, and now we've got a Christmas in July happening.
Tonight is about community coming together
Some people don't have kitchens, some people don't get out for social networking, so this is their social networking, this is their kitchens, and if we can alleviate one little bit of pressure off them by cooking a community meal and having everybody come together and share their stories and what they've been up to in the week, that's really important for us, and important as a community to heal as well. So that's essentially what we're doing.
I do feel not having that extended funding can really impact that continuance of care with our participants and our communities, you know, taking them right from when the water started to their future preparedness. Like the journey is, we've only just started really.
When the flood first occurred, because we're an organisation and an Aboriginal organisation that's not only not-for-profit, we're a registered charity. So we were able to gain access to getting goods and items donated through Good 360 and being able to deliver those items directly into community. We were able to employ a couple of young boys as well as an Aboriginal man that were able to be the physical help for people when they needed it. And it doubled up, so they were able to help with clean up people who still needed rubbish dumped. They were able to help when we got Harvey Norman donations. And then on top of that, we also used a lot of the funding for food vouchers. We found that while it was a severe financial crisis after the flood, it still is now. A lot of families, that even though they're living in dongas or have got shelter over their head now, they're struggling to put food on the table because they're still at a loss from everything that they're still recovering from. It's been probably the best funding experience I've had. The flexibility of it, allowing us to adapt as the needs changed within community. You could have one day where you have 10 people request vouchers and we're like, yes, we can do this. And then the very next day someone rings up and says, we've got a family that's, you know, in casino and they don't have table and chairs. Do you have any? And we're like, yes, we actually do. And you're able to, you know, change as the change needed to be made. We did help over 200 people. So for me, I find like that's a big number considering we're a very small group, very small organisation that really minimised what we spent on wages to ensure that the money went to community. But at the same time, it exhausted us, but it's not enough money. If you need something more sustainable, there needs to be more in wages for people who are dedicated in these areas, and something larger where it did, like this grant, have the flexibility to be able to go to these families that are still suffering now and say, yep, you need a voucher, we got your back.
My partner and I took a ute full, plus a trailer, plus a car full of toiletry kits, food, cleaning buckets and things out to the people that couldn't come in, and we actually drove through the flood water that way, and that was heartbreaking to see the devastation.
I'm Ursula. I'm the nerd leader of the Mend and Make Do crew, and originally it started as a way to sort of survive off the smell of an oily rag with your arts and crafts and other things, and it's morphed into a fully blown organisation with an awesome team. Kits that we produce, the core kits, your linen kits, kitchen starter sets, cleaning kits and toiletry kits. We will do ad hoc other ones when needed, but it just takes that load off the frontline agencies. They don't have to spend the time and money, and then they've got more time and money for the clients that are in distress. So you're looking at probably between 8,000 and 10,000 kits in the last 15 months. The volunteers in our team are amazing, and they bring with them all sorts of skills, and we as a team try to work to people's interests.
I feel really compassionate about helping people, especially in times of need. And doing these packs up, you know, you feel like you're giving back to the community, helping the community, and it gives you pleasure in doing it.
I feel humble. I feel humbled by being able to have the opportunity to do this.
We actually work with the frontline agencies that have the social work skills and that infrastructure. So they will send orders through to us for what their client needs. And then often it'll either be the agency or the client that picks it up. We've had a lot of people that had to either relocate from up around Lismore or Ballina or Corrokai. We've had a couple of those come back and want to be part of the team. And it's an empowering process, and it's a way, I guess, one of the ways or strategies to deal with your own trauma. You know, when you've got such a massive geographical area that the roads are impacted, bridges are impacted, it was weeks after that people were suddenly stumbling into town like stunned mullets and just not knowing what to do, where to go, what happened to everyone else. And I'm hoping that that level of resilience where we all pitch in, everyone just pulls together, is something that will be acknowledged and incorporated into bigger planning things, and I think that is happening.
This is Kyogle Community Food Pantry.
Hey, Emma. Oh, hello. How are you? Not too bad, yourself? Good. All right. Well, let's go in and see what's happening.
We were originally quite small, and I think it was 18 months ago we came under Lions. We moved into this beautiful big shed, which has allowed us to support a lot more people. Most of our food is provided by Food Bank. It is bought by us, but it's bought for cheap, so that then we can sell it on to our customers for cheap. We are one of the biggest food pantries in the area especially. Because of that, we can store more, so we can provide more. About 80 to 90% of our customers are within the Kyogle LGA or just outside of it. Others come from other places. We have had a lot of people after the flood that roomed with family and friends in Kyogle. They've now gone back to their accommodation in Lismore or in Ballina, but they're still using us because the need is still there. We say to them, we can't fix your bills. We can't pay your mortgage. We can make sure that when your kid comes to you and says, Dad, I'm hungry, you can say, go to the pantry and know that there's food in there. It's one less worry.
This is the fruit and veggie brigade.
And if we can have a bit of a laugh while we're doing it, then that's a bonus. But yeah, that gives you all the feels.
In the floods, or just after the floods, we as a town got locked off for 4 days. Didn't have communication, couldn't get in and out. And we were the only food available in town. So for the first 2 weeks, we gave away nearly $10,000 worth of food. Didn't take any money. Some of the regulars bought money back the following week, which was lovely, but that's what we did. We were able to have the food here. Of our 1,000-odd clients, I would suggest we've got 200 that are still very much flood affected that can't get to what they used to call home. We've been asked to go and take some more food out to a couple of the villages. People think that everybody's okay, but they're not.
What I see is that ripple-on or flow-through effect of what it does for people's dignity, for their social life, for their sense of well-being. A lot of people come here that don't usually access services.
It's a bit humbling, really, you know, because when you're a farmer and you're earning good money, but you're spending even more than what you're earning, and it gets pretty hard times. But anyway, yeah. So it's good. It just meets the fills the gap in the food budget. Yep.
We really wanted to focus on the theme of home for healing. And why we wanted to focus on that was the connection that we have to country. So whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's other trauma, we know that when people are home on country, that's how they heal. Connecting to country, connecting to community, connecting to family. We can't underestimate the impact of just gathering in a safe space when you're trying to recover from the most traumatic time of your life. Gathering in a culturally safe space is really important for us, but making sure that we're providing opportunities for not just our Indigenous communities, but the wider community to come together and connect, whether it's over a cup of coffee in the mornings around a fire to keep you warm and have those conversations and check in on each other, or whether it's participating in weaving workshops or art therapies. We know that that power of connecting, that power of storytelling, whether it's good or bad, sharing our experiences and how we've been able to recover from those. We must remember that people's emotional and mental well-being is a long road to recovery. You can build a house in 12 months or 2 years or 3 years, but the impacts that a tragedy like the floods or any other natural disaster has on a community and people, emotionally and mentally, that takes a long time.
We lost our home of 30 years, to which that was home base for our kids and our grannies. Life hasn't been the same since then, all our lives, and then coming away with nothing. We've hit rock bottom, and with that flood comes many, many layers of trauma.
Everybody's experience is different and everybody is still trying to heal from this tragedy in their own way. So I guess what we feel is our responsibility is making sure that we're just checking in on everybody, making sure that we're providing the opportunity for people to voice how they're feeling. The reality for me is the power of community, the power of our Bundjalung community, the power of our Black organisations to come together and lead the way and support each other to keep doing the work. And I've always said that we've only been doing it for over 60,000 years, so why not during a flood crisis? And that the very root and foundations of what we do every day to care for people in a time of tragedy or crisis comes back to who we are as blackfellas and our responsibility to look after country. And looking after country is looking after every single person that walks on our land.
Well, today we dance for NATO. We also dance for our elders. When I'm doing my culture dance, it feels like I'm getting connected to my ancestors. Like they're watching over me as I'm dancing on their land.
When I sit here and I hear them being comfortable in how they talk and their knowledge and what they know and what they want people to hear, I think that's a reflection on the community that surrounds them that makes them feel like they're absolutely capable.
The connection across organisations has been really important as well, and I think really unexpected in some ways, in that now there is this sort of large connected group of organisations that know who each other are, know what other organisations offer, and are able to spread themselves or support each other right across the whole 7 LGAs, which has been really exciting in a lot of ways to see.
Right from the beginning, when the funding was rolled out, the model was that it was a really easy, simple model for organisations to apply for. The reporting has been really simple reporting. I think having Sally and I here on the ground, meeting with organisations face to face every month, has just really helped so many organisations, and especially the smaller ones, and especially those working frontline with community members, because there was a lot of burnout. And I think us really supporting them through the process, having to change what they intended on doing with the funding, the whole model has worked really well, and I think the evaluation will really show that. The diversity of the services has been hugely effective right across the district.
Oh, that's a new creek. That brings us up to 61 creek or river crossings.